The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Bonjour, Anne. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hello, Anne.
Hello.
Welcome, Anne.
Hi. Nice to have you back again with us. And I'd like to do a quick introduction. We have with us Sumit Anand, President of the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce. And we have Shrikant Lonikar, Chairman of the IFCCI HR Committee. And of course, I think Anne's on. Yeah. Yes, Anne. I was just doing a little bit of introduction. We have Sumit Anand, President of the French Chamber, IFCCI, and Shrikant Lonikar, who's Chairman of the IFCCI HR Committee, and Sasmita Mohanty, who's also the Vice Chairman of our committee, and CHRO from Bolloré. So we have Anne Level, who's the Group CHRO from Capgemini. Thank you, Anne, once again for joining us.
Hi. Thank you very much for having me.
Bienvenue. Merci d'être avec nous.
Thanks for inviting me. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, it's good. We can see you. So, Anne, we're just giving it a few minutes and we'll then start off. We have a few people just connecting. Yes, so we'll just start off.
Okay,
so I think
perfect.
Yes, yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. We're just going to give it a few more minutes before we start. Thank you.
Hi.
Sasmita, you can start in the next 2-3 minutes. We have a lot of people. Hi, Pallavi.
Hi, Anne. Good afternoon, or rather, good morning.
Hi, Pallavi. How are you
Thank you
doing?
for joining. I wasn't too sure if I was audible. Hi, Sapna.
Hi, hi.
Shrikant.
You were Pallavi. I just didn't recognize your voice and your camera came on, so I connected. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I'll go off camera, huh?
Yeah. Thank you for joining, Pallavi. We'll be in touch with you later for the proceedings.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We start at 2:34, Sapna.
Yes, sure. Sasmita, I leave it to you. We have many of the people joining in, so maybe in the next 2 minutes you can take it forward.
Yeah, sure. So 2:34 should look good.
Please.
Hello, Pallavi.
Hi.
Let's start, Sapna. I think it's 2:34.
Yes, Sasmita, you may. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So we start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you again to the second day of the second edition of HR Conclave, organized by IFPI. For the participants who were present yesterday, the topic is known, but I may mention the topic for those who have signed in today. The topic of the conclave is New World of Business, Work, Workplace, and Worker. Yesterday, which was the first day of the conclave, was a very participative day, and we had personals from the human resources, business, and legal background coming from respectable companies and who gave us an insight to the various topics which highlighted the broader topic, the new world of business, work, workplace, and worker. We define the future of work as a result of many forces of change affecting these three deeply connected dimensions of an organization: work, the what; the workforce, the who; and the workplace, the where. The pandemic has prompted a profound rethink of how we work. The employees are taking their experience and skills to get into new roles at an accelerated pace as compared to the pre-pandemic period. And for the employers, this implies a need for more explicit attention to creating connections and community as workplaces become more virtual and filled with more contingent workers. The workforce and the workplace are deeply interrelated. We seem at a crossroad in redefining what it means to work, to be an employer, and to contribute value and talent in newfound ways. So to discuss these points in depth, we have today some remarkable speakers and experts from various companies who have participated with us to do the knowledge sharing. To start the day, may I invite Sumit Anand, President IFFI, founder of Insight Growth Partner. Sumit, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sasmita. So happy to be here. It's such a privilege. I want to welcome everybody to the second day, all our members, guests, and our great speakers that we have, especially to our keynote speaker, Madame Anne Lebel, who's the Chief Human Resource Officer and member of the Group Executive Board of Capgemini. It's really an honor for our members to have you address them today. This is the second HR conclave that we are organizing. And it's, from what we've just heard from Sasmita, yesterday was an action-packed day, a lot of interesting thoughts and discussions. Today, I'm sure also the panel that will follow will be very interesting. And I wish all of our HR professionals, a lot of learning and exchange from this conclave. I think it's a moment for us also to thank our HR professionals, and I would like to do that on behalf of all of us individuals and collectively as a chamber, as our companies. In this period of the pandemic, you have looked after us, you have looked after our safety, you have made sure that we can work and fulfill our professional goals, and we can be there at the same time for our families. And you brought new ways for us to work so we can embrace the new world that is emerging in front of us. So a big thank you to all of you for what you do. It's really been a period where HR has been at the front of the business, and wish you all the best in the coming year as well as we transition hopefully into an endemic. I think with that I'll stop and let our professionals and our speakers and our leaders talk to us and tell us more about how they see the new world of business emerging from an HR context. So thank you again, everybody, for being with us today, and welcome. And look forward to hearing about hearing each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumit. Moving forward, COVID-19 has set the tone for several mega trends in a short span of time, underpinning connectivity and technology to be the critical factor for success in any business. The pandemic has created a lasting impact with both challenges and opportunities. As the world recovers and prepares for transition, hear from our experts on how to leverage the new opportunities and manage the challenges in a post-COVID world. May I invite Anne Lebel to address on the topic Unlocking Opportunities in the New World of Business. Anne Lebel has been Capgemini's CHRO and a member of the Group Executive Board since July 2020. Prior to joining Capgemini in 2020, Anne was the Chief Human Resource and Corporate Culture Officer for Natixis and a member of the Senior Management Committee. Over to you, Anne.
Thank you very much, Sasmita, for the lovely introduction. Very pleased to be here. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. I would also like to thank Sumit and the entire IFCCI team for inviting me to be the keynote speaker at this HR conclave. Now, to our topic today, let me start by asking you to project yourself and to look back at 2018 or 2019, whatever. At that time, would you have imagined that it might take a year for you to meet physically with your team for the first time? Would you have imagined that a significant number of your workforce will have never had any physical contact with colleagues, managers, offices? That you would hire and promote virtually at all levels, from the most juniors one to the most senior ones? That you would be maybe about to consider onboarding people in the metaverse? That relying on past patterns to predict attrition would no longer work? and even the most engaged employees might consider leaving your company. Would you have imagined that most people would want flexibility at all levels, but at the same time also would want to keep some emotional connection with the company? So I guess probably a few of these elements or anecdotes resonate with your own experience. On my side, this has been pretty much my story with Capgemini as I joined in July 20. To these points, it is true that most of our life at work, our relation to work, has been deeply disrupted. We've all been forced to navigate uncertainty, and there is no normal anymore, which in a sense leaves the ground for innovation in many domains and for pragmatism as well, as there's no one magic solution, but we are all forced to rethink our models. And in other words, to reset the compass. So today I would like to focus on 3 topics. First one is to look at how can we better understand and address our workers' expectations. Second, what are the opportunities for a new leadership culture? And last, what are the new work models that we can further explore? To the first point about the way we can better understand workers' expectations and address also the different dimensions of it. I mean, as I said, the pandemic has disrupted many things, has seen also many new expectations arising. But I mean, the fact that we also pretty much operate in very hot labor markets in many industries also generates new expectations. This being said, can we consider that these expectations are always clear? I would say that there's clear demands for flexibility, there's clear demands for driving one's preferences, and we can read this through many research. There's also expectations of consumer-grade people experience, as we have all now been used to navigating digital solutions. But this being said, there's also some, I would say, complementary, but maybe also paradoxal expectations, in the sense that we have employees that request flexibility, that request autonomy. But at the same time, these employees also expect their leaders, their company, to be able to create or to recreate an emotional connection. So I would say it's no longer a one-size-fits-all. And in my view, we really need to put in place what is required to get to know our people in a more holistic manner. Doing our QYE as we do the QYC, being real. Sorry, there's something on my screen that says partager ma webcam, okay. So, as I said, we need to put in place what is required to get to know our people in a holistic manner, being real about it as well, and more importantly, this is about going beyond the transactional relationship. It's about taking into account all dimensions of an individual. So, for example, when we talk about well-being, when we talk about career, it fits real needs and it's not just a tick the box exercise. So this is about becoming curious in a different way to really get to know our employees as a whole and to consider them as a whole individual. 3 things to that point. First, we definitely need to develop a more personalized people experience when we work and rework our HR solutions. As I said, it's no longer a one-size-fits-all. And this is opening new opportunities to not only empower people, but also empower people by leveraging technology. It's about enabling digital navigation and addressing some of the HR domains finally, or considering HR as an open platform of services. using technology to understand people preferences with regards to these services as well, being able to use data to bring more insights, better understand it. And this covers many different areas of our HR world. It's about benefits, because I mean, depending on my family situation, depending on my age range as well, I may not want to use the same set of benefits as some others. It's about being able to decide or to choose my own ways of working, and not just being told that from now on, I will work from home 2 days a week, for example. It's about building my own learning path. It's about picking and deciding on how I can manage my well-being activities as well. So it's about enabling people to feel empowered, to make choices, and to drive preferences, and that has become essential. That is one point. But it's not enough, because I don't think our people expect us to just be a platform of services. This is more importantly about refocusing the human connection. I mean, we've all been in and out. Everybody has been doing that, depending on the different waves of the pandemic. Plus, we all have welcomed lots of new joiners in our companies. So it's really important to rethink how we can connect in that new world and how we can recreate routines that are no longer there. And that needs to go through redesigning the way we work in teams, the way and redesigning some of our team rituals as well, be it individual rituals or collective rituals, physical and digital. So for example, at Capgemini, we've come up with 7 team rituals that we have now introduced that are about how to provide informative sessions, but also how to drive developmental discussions in a virtual world, how to have or when to have informal sessions as well, non-work routines with the team and with the individuals, with clear rules on moments to connect, moments to disconnect. And I strongly believe that managers and employees need support, need a reset compass, and need explicit rules to make it work. It's also about redesigning workspaces. It's digital workspaces and physical, and to make it connecting together. What I mean is that it's about introducing here as well new routines, allowing for connection in that hybrid environment, and using these workspaces appropriately. So, for example, at Capgemini, our new workspaces will be organized around 3 concepts: meetup hubs for collaboration and exchange, delivery hubs for project work, large delivery centers for individual work. And each of these can be paired with digital platforms that will really enable virtual and physical collaboration. It's also about looking at how we can further investigate more immersive experience, taking, for example, the first pilots to use metaverse to onboard people in, again, a fully immersive environment. It's also about valuing and supporting the action of the middle managers. I think in our world, they are the real anchor points, and they are becoming even more important. So that role is key to understand, to connect, but also to pay attention and to care. For many years, for many of them, the relationship with their people has been pretty transactional, if I may use that word. I mean, it has been very much focused on the kind of activities, tasks, ongoing operational topics that had to be managed or handled. The pandemic has brutally required all of us as managers and all of them as our managers to really be able to become more curious again about getting to understand the role of an individual. But to do so, I really believe we need to equip all these managers. So as an example, we have deployed in many entities and many geographies different solutions to ensure regular conversations between employees and management. Conversations that may be related to career and development, but not only, it's broader than that. So for example, in India, we introduced a new solution that is called New Matter, that enables managers to put in place regular conversations to really care, to really pay attention, and to really be able to address many different areas and many different topics. It's about having quality conversations. And it's also about giving perspective and purpose. I'm still on my point about refocusing on human and emotional connection. I mean, in many industries, we are in a growth environment. This is about growing the business, but also growing people. It's about creating value for our people. So it's about providing meaningful work, providing growth opportunity, providing visibility on professional development, and giving tangible signs to people that we are here and that we are truly invested in growing them. So it goes through commitments on learning, but I mean, it also goes through creating opportunities for community work, for belonging to expertise communities, for example, and it also creates opportunities to better value skills progressions of our individuals. If I move to my second topic, I think that no normal or new normal environment is a fantastic opportunity to rethink our leadership cultures. We had to rethink what leadership is required to navigate that environment. And we need to equip, we need to grow leaders on dimensions that were not necessarily core in the old world. I spoke about care and attention that are expected. I mean, this is all about being authentic, and showing empathy to all our people. And this has become must-have attributes in the new world. This, along with strategic thinking, with agility, with ability to address also a more complex ecosystem of stakeholders. We as leaders are now required to be responsible towards business, clients, employees, but also the wider society. And it's also about inclusion. I mean, more than ever, our employees expect us to take tangible actions and to really drive our culture towards a more inclusive culture. So at Capgemini, we use this as an opportunity to also redesign our leadership model. And we came up with 5 strong dimensions. We now define what good leadership looks like at Capgemini, and expect our leaders to be inclusive leaders in order to be talent magnets, to be relentless and drive the business, to be aligned entrepreneurs, showing collaborative manners, to be proactive and client value creators, and to be able to shape the future as well, to anticipate and to adjust and be resilient. Again, we need leaders that can recreate routines, that can support, empower people. And definitely we need leaders that are able to move from being individual heroes, being the ones that take everything on their shoulders, that drive everything, towards a more collective form of hero, if I can use that word, being able to, again, get people to contribute, get people to innovate, get people to feel empowered as well. Moving now to my third topic, I wanted also to touch base on what this no normal or new normal provides us as opportunities for different work models. I think the hybrid work is here to stay, and it's not only me saying that, of course, but as I said earlier, beyond putting in place some flexible work policies everywhere, it's really the relation to work that has deeply changed. and this is opening different kind of opportunities. The first I would like to mention is the opportunity to work from anywhere to anywhere. Because this is an opportunity for employees to expand their expertise and their knowledge and to work for different clients, different geographies, without being without being forced to travel. It's also a fantastic opportunity for clients to benefit from different expertise. Beyond that one, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for us to consider our talent ecosystem as no longer being limited to full-time permanent workers. If we are proactive with this, and if we consider the fact that many people now want to work differently, some of them want to work fully remotely, some of them may want to no longer have a permanent work contract, but be freelancers. Some of them may want to work a few months in a year. If we consider that as being part of our entire ecosystem, and if we are able to really build or think of the kind of stickiness, the kind of affiliation we can put in place, and how we can sustain that relationship with these different circles, I think we can create fluidity and we can create affiliation, and we can be much more attractive to many different people in the workplace as well. And of course, this requires to build a specific value proposition with these different talent segments. So to conclude briefly, my message is that I think we are all still navigating, we're still discovering, we're still adjusting, but we have now all gone beyond the simple fact of introducing flexible work policies in our frameworks. This is really about rethinking the relation to work, rethinking affiliation, sustainable human connection at all levels. So on the one hand, there's more to do to leverage technology to provide best-in-class people experience, to really empower people to drive preferences, and also for companies to better understand these employee preferences by better using data and insights in a way that frees up the bandwidth to really ensure quality of human connection. Because again, it is not about transforming our HR functions or our companies in some sort of open platform services, but this is really about setting that human connection differently in a way that will also enable all our managers to care for employees and to consider them as a whole person. Thank you very much.
Hi, Susmita.
Yeah. I was just opening my mic. Thank you, Anne. Thank you for this wonderful insight. In fact, listening to you, I was just reminded of something. There was somewhere where I read John Kennedy once observed that the word crisis in Chinese is composed of two characters, one representing danger and the other opportunity. He may not have been entirely correct on the linguist or the language part of it, but the sentiment is true enough. A crisis presents a choice. This is particularly true today. We must also agree that the crisis will create significant new opportunities for growth, although this varies significantly by the industries. Thank you, Anne. Thank you for this insight. Now let us watch the video for the Capgemini, please.
Future. You can't always see what's coming, but the decisions you make right now help you build a better one. Do you want a future where technology constrains your business or empowers it? Will you innovate for the sake of it or innovate so you're closer to your customers? Do Do you want to be reactive to what's happening or relevant for tomorrow? Will you choose profit over planet? Or will you find profit in sustainability? Partner with Capgemini now and unlock the value of technology to transform your business. Capgemini. Get the future you want.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving ahead, now may I invite Isabelle Eo, who is the Executive President and Dean at IM Lyon Business School. Isabelle graduated from IM Lyon and has a PhD in Management Sciences. As a professor, she taught strategy and organization studies. She is also a member of several international and European academic institutions. Over to you, Isabelle.
Dear delegates, dear colleagues, dear friends, as Executive President and Dean of EM Lyon Business School, I'm really delighted and proud that EM Lyon Business School is the knowledge partner of the second edition of this prestigious HR conclave of the IFCCI HR Committee. The theme of this second edition could not be more apt: New World of Business, Work, Workplace, and Worker. Indeed, COVID has affected the world, organizations, and most importantly, lives everywhere. This pandemic has challenged us individually and collectively to the core. At a time when countries, corporates, and people are still struggling to come together and address this pandemic, pressing social, environmental, and economic issues that were present before this crisis haven't subsided and need answers more than ever. This pandemic will pass, hopefully soon, but our duty towards future generations and the planet still carries a pressing agenda. Our school will soon be celebrating its 150th anniversary, and in the past 150 years we have faced many crises. As an organization, we have sometimes evolved out of necessity, but always out of convictions. As a strong local and leading global European business university, as scholars, but also as concerned citizens, we perceive the necessity for change and wanted to address here and now these pressing social, technological, and environmental challenges. At the early stages of the pandemic, we unveiled our Confluence 2025 plan, fueled by a clear vision and based on 3 fundamental principles. First, engage in order to transform. Social and environmental engagements now forms the guiding thread for all the school's training programs. Based on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, the school increasingly focuses student training on issues pertaining to the ecological transition, social sustainability, and ethics. We've labeled this SDGs inside. Second, hybridize in order to understand. EM Lyon Business School is consolidating the scientific quality of both the faculty and research outputs by reinforcing the hybridizations of its programs. This is a powerful vector for expanding opportunities, inclusion, critical thinking, and creativity. 3 new institutes bringing together training programs, research, shared, and socio-economic partnerships were launched. The Artificial Intelligence and Management Institute, the Impact Entrepreneurship and Social Innovation Institute, and the Ethno Institute. This increases training through experience and stimulates the search for excellence in cross-cutting themes at the school. And third, lead the world. This plan marks a new turning point in the expansion of our international footprint. Already established in Lyon, Saint-Étienne, Paris, Casablanca, Shanghai, and Bhubaneswar, EM Business School opened in collaboration with Xavier College its 7th campus in Mumbai 2021, becoming the first French business school in India's economic capital. Finally, the transformation of EM Business School into a benefit corporation is a major milestone and strengthens our purpose. Defined by all our stakeholders in a very collaborative process, this legal status embodies the institution's common core beliefs. Efficiency must be combined with responsibility and humility. Cooperation and the economy must also produce social and environmental justice. The changes to be made call for knowledge, awareness, and boldness, and finally, it's necessary to act and lead differently for the common good. As you can see, our vision, our guiding principles, and our purpose are aligned to fully embrace, contribute, and make us an actor of the necessary changes here and now. Therefore, it's really my pleasure to reassert the school's commitment to IFCCI as a knowledge partner for this event and our intent to collaborate with each and every member of the Chamber, helping them develop opportunities, greater skills, unique learning, increase adaptability, and deliver cutting-edge solutions for their stakeholders in India and globally. I wish you all a great conclave.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you very much. Moving ahead, adapting employees' skills and roles to the post-pandemic ways of working will be crucial to building operating model resilience. The coronavirus pandemic has made this more urgent. Workers across industries must figure out how they can adapt to rapidly changing conditions, and companies have to learn how to match those workers to new roles and activities. This dynamic is about more than remote working or the role of automation and AI. In our next upcoming panel discussion, Mr. Anish Sarkar with the panelists will discuss on the topic, New Characters of Worker. Anish Sarkar is the CEO of Sodexo Benefits and Reward Services India since 2019. He has overseen the launch of new digital solutions and led strong business growth for the company, besides being a member of the Executive Council of Payments Council of India, PCI. Before joining Sodexo, Anish spent 4 years as the CEO of Mesa India, and prior to that, he was with the Capgemini Group in different leadership roles across management consulting and technology transformation. Over to you, Anish.
Thank you, Sasmita. Am I audible? I am.
Totally.
Thank you for the introduction, and very pleased to be part of this exciting event, and really looking forward to this session on new character of worker. Since we have limited time, I already see my panelists. Let me start off with a quick introduction and welcome them to the panel. So first up, we have Ipsita Das. He is the Managing Director of Moët Hennessy India, the LVMH Group. He is a board member at ISWAI, or the International Spirits and Wines Association of India. Ipsita also serves as the Vice President of the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce in India. Welcome very much to the panel.
Excuse me, Anish. Anish, yes. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. There's a little disturbance. Maybe you'd like to check the headset. It could be. There's a lot of disturbance coming from the... Yeah.
I think that comes from somewhere else. I'm not
okay.
Sure.
Yeah, it seems better. Yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry for the interruption.
I think you're all on mute, I think. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I move on to my next esteemed panelist, Swapna Desai. Swapna is the country head of human resources for BNP Paribas India, overseeing over 10,000 employees across 6 entities in the country. She's a seasoned HR professional with experience across a variety of roles and platforms within BNP Paribas. Welcome to the panel, Swapna. Very pleased to have you here.
Thank you, Anish.
All right. And next we have Hema Mani. Hema is currently the Regional Director Asia Pacific HR at Lennox International. Hema has over 27 years of experience in strategic human resources with wide-ranging multinational experiences. She is currently chairwoman for CII Indian Women Network in Chennai. A warm welcome, Hema, to the panel.
Thank you.
Last but not least, and bringing up some gender diversity in the panel, we have Professor Philippe Silbers, who is a professor of M. Lyon Business School in France. His work focuses on how organizations manage disruptions and situations of radical uncertainty. He has over 20 years of prior experience as an entrepreneur and CEO in the software industry. Welcome very much to the panel. Look forward to your views. All right. So with that, we have all our panelists, on, and as I said, the topic is the new character of worker, and I think we had a couple of interesting keynote sessions, especially by Anne, to set some great context for our discussion here. I think the panel really brings a great mixture of experience, different perspectives, points of view from different industries. So as the moderator, actually my job becomes that much easier, and without wasting further time, I will jump straight in and have them weigh in on the topic. So first of all, maybe Hema, if I come to you, and the new character of worker, very relevant for all of us, especially in this current situation that we're in, or the new normal. Perhaps you can begin with your perspective on this topic. Another, I would say, a related or another way of kind of talking about this whole topic has been christened the Great Resignation in recent times, and we have seen a lot of movement, of course, a lot of changes in the way of working, in the way workforces. In the way workforces are being designed and framed and changing. But you had a perspective on this topic, Hema. Would possibly love to hear you first with your views on this topic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anish. And thanks to IFCCI for having me here on this conference. Special thanks to both Shrikant and Swapna, both of whom I know very well. And thanks for having me here. It's a topic, Anish, as I mentioned to you all the other day when we met, that I've been very closely observing. Of course, there are no clear answers for any of us right now, because it's all evolving, the whole sociological aspect of it, the anthropological aspect of how a workplace is going to get redefined is just happening, and we are in the midst of it. And I think that in itself is an exciting phase for many of us in human resource professionals or in leadership roles should be, in the space right now. It's quite an exciting space as you see so many dimensions of so many characteristics of the worker changing. But if I pull back a bit, Anish, and if you will allow me, what has really transpired over these last 2 years, ever since the pandemic hit us? I'm an avid reader of books. I enjoy all genre of reading. And I happen to see what is the most widely read books over the last 2 years, and here's the list that instantly pops up in various media, whether it is Goodreads or, you look at the various ratings of book. Some of the books that are most widely read: People We Meet on Vacation, which is a book that talks about holidays, spending time with friends. Then there was another book called as Malibu Rising, which is a book really around the construct of families, conversation around families. Another book that personally I liked is Beautiful World, Where Are You?, written by Sally, a very beautiful book on resilience and endurance, that we need to espouse in life. What Happened to You, a beautiful bestseller book by Oprah Winfrey. And then who doesn't remember Ikigai? Every bookstore you went, the front facade had a copy of Ikigai, which really talks about the balances of life and the compositions or the components that one need to have in life for a very long, happy, journey that we all are in. And then the power of subconscious mind, a lot of people getting into altruistic mindset, trying to deep delve into spirituality, trying to understand themselves. All these books have this list has a telling story behind it. What is that people are looking for? And you translate this best-selling books and you look over the last 2 years, and I'm sure all of us would agree, uh, pre-pandemic, work was the central fulcrum of our lives. Work was most important, and everything revolved around work. My time for my family, my friends, my community, my children, how I would arrange meetings with my friends, my hobbies. In fact, they were, in a somewhere in the backyard or somewhere in a box, right? Little did we bring it out so much in the open. And then you have the pandemic coming in and just surprising us with the gravity that it did, and it still does in some ways. And you saw people putting up Insta stories and posts on the social media where they were bringing out their hobbies. We saw so many home bakers, so many gardeners out there, so many painters and singers. Their hobbies became the central part of their life. And then there was families, all the things that they always wanted to do, which they found time to do during the pandemic. So what happens next? Yesterday, I think Shrikant mentioned, we possibly are in an endemic state. We all pray that we are in an endemic state and we come out of it. This whole shift where work was essential, I think will just shift and become one part of our life. I think life becomes the central piece, and I'm hoping that it stays that way. I'm not a great expert in how sociologically we will all evolve, but I'm hoping that life continues to be the central fulcrum and everything comes around it. So I think that's a big mind shift. So that's one part, what pandemic has done to us. The second part is just the whole workforce, the genre of workforce that is entering the organizations. There are millennials and Gen Zs. Most of the large workforce come from semi-urban or urban cities. And essentially what they're looking for is a purpose in their workplace. They're looking for an empowered workspace. They're looking for a trusted workspace. They're looking for flexibility. They're looking for clarity and transparency. They're looking for empathy. And I think all that has accentuated with this pandemic. That need has got accentuated with this pandemic. Of course, I'm quite aware that we do have large sections of population who come in from economically, not so comfortable, situations where money and position still dominate their need. But we can't ignore the changing mindset among the millennials and Gen Zs. So all this put together, I think now I'm kind of addressing what you were asking. How does the employer change? And I think these are the mind shift changes from an organizational standpoint I see. I think number one, if organizations want to sustain, want to remain committed to their employees, want to be known as a best employer in their industry choice, the first mind shift change is, yes, there is focus on profit and that won't diminish, but then can you shift the attention to purpose behind that profit? And I think people will far more appreciate, your employees will far more appreciate that. The second mind shift change that I can see is from very traditional hierarchical systems that we have created in organizations. Can we move to a more networked society within organizations? We have seen communities work very successfully in the last 2 years. People love belonging to a community. People love belonging to a cohort. So will structures evolve that way, right? Third one, which is really focusing on what employees want, from a very controlling system where decisions are centralized, organizations certainly have to move into an inclusive, empowering, and a more democratic way of managing and way of leading. And finally, from privacy to transparency. How much of decision is the more decisions are centralized, there's more privacy or the aura of privacy built around it. The more you throw it out, make it more inclusive, you're building a system of transparency. And I think that's the call in that people are asking for. And if I may just end with this note, just before coming here, I did a random poll among my team, asking them what do they think about the changing face of the employee. And here are some things that came out to me. Flexibility. They want a trusting environment. They want an empathetic leadership. They want an organization that focuses on mental health. They want an organization which is personable, where there is easy access to the length and breadth of the organization. So these are my few words, Anish, and more as we discuss.
Thank you, Hema. Very comprehensive perspective. Loved your example on the of the various well-known books that you used to illustrate your point. Ipsita, if I can go to you next. So this topic obviously has multiple dimensions, and may I ask you to weigh in a little bit on the piece around how do you engage these employees as we go ahead with the new character of worker? What would be your perspective of employee engagement in this kind of a new world? As managers and leaders, how do we empower them? How do we give them the tools to, manage these kind of very different and dynamic workforces in the days to come?
Thank you for that, Anish. And as always, it's a privilege to be a part of Indo-French panels. And Anish, you and Hema, you have set the context beautifully. I think on the employee side, and jumping straight in, Anish, I think there has been obviously several surveys, and Hema, you said, you've done it in your own team. I think what we've gathered from the multiple surveys that have happened over the last couple of years is that hybrid model of working is here to stay, right? Quoting just one of them, which was one from Microsoft, I was reading it, that 70% of the workers actually said that they want hybrid model to continue. And taking that a step ahead, actually 39% of the workers said that they will consider quitting their jobs if their employers were not flexible. So yes, in the pre-pandemic world, there was no case study to prove that it works, but now there is a case study, and hence it's a reality which is best accepted by all of us, and what needs focus now is to how to make it work. Now, coming to that question, Anish, on how do we continue to engage our employees or rather equip the organization and the managers to make this hybrid model work. I think first and foremost, right, while a hybrid model comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages for different employees, we need to identify that as organizations, right? Like Hema mentioned about flexibility. Yes, I can start my day early at home. I can take a 40-minute break to drop my son to school at 8:45. I can restart work. I can run my personal errands for an hour at 4 o'clock. I can decide to come back work and finish it off at 8, or even more, I can decide to pick up work post-dinner, right? The level of flexibility is great, but again, not everyone wants that flexibility, right? The downside of that is hybrid model has blurred the lines between work and personal life. Now, there is no start to a work day, there's no end to a work day. It's an unsaid expectation that just like we are using flexibility to do our personal work in the regular work hours, then we are also going to use our flexibility to do our official work in our regular personal hours. So that blur and that expectation, unsaid expectation, is leading to a complete work-life disbalance. Now, unsaid again, but a lot of people are feeling it, a lot of employees are feeling it, is calls and Zooms. Right? What can happen over a 5 minutes in-person discussion now goes to a 30-minute pre-planned Zoom call, has to be on the calendar. Right? And at the end of the day, when you're done with probably 8 or 10 Zoom calls, you have no time to actually do real work. Right? But some of these things can be tackled, and I'll answer that in the second part. Obviously, then there are the more obvious parts of, the advantages of no commute time, and then the obvious disadvantages of struggling to collaborate, for instance. But most importantly, I think the biggest disadvantage, or rather the gap today that still needs to be filled, is the feeling of being engaged, the feeling of connection with colleagues and employees, and engaged in an organization where I really feel that I am a part of. That work-family engagement has taken a beating. Now, one of the most important things to do is in the journey towards engaging our employees is obviously to equip not just the organization with certain tools and certain fun factors to engage people, but also to equip our managers to be able to work with a hybrid task force or a workforce. Well, firstly, how can we do that, right? As Hema was saying, setting that purpose is very important. I think I'll take that a little forward and I will say setting expectation is more important than ever today in a hybrid model. Hybrid model is obviously extremely prone to miscommunication because, again, you do not get that personal touch. And it's important for managers and organizations to bring in clarity, to set the vision, the direction, the purpose, and set expectations clearly. And this might need a lot of over-communication. So the first step towards engaging people is to over-communicate right now. While in an offline mode, obviously we need, we'd rather make the most of the face-to-face time conversation we have in office. But when working virtually, what we've realized is the virtual discussions now need a lot more personal connect. There was a time that when we would walk into a meeting room and we will get straight into the agenda. But in today's state, when we get on the Zoom call, we need to spend the first 5 minutes on a personal connect, on just asking something as simple as how you're doing, how's your family, right? And that personal connect is more important again. Now, the third thing which we've luckily have had the tools to practice and an idea that flourished during the first wave was, how do we keep a pulse on the organization on a daily basis? Yes, most organizations do, engagement surveys once a year or once in 6 months. But what we deployed in Moet Hennessy actually was a tool called Amber, which is a 365-day employee survey. So as an MD or even my head of HR has access to what the engagement score is or the mood score is on a daily basis. Right? And we can highlight and identify where are the risks. The second is, as a personal example, while as senior leaders, like everyone on this call today and in this panel today, right, we at times get the feedback and the pulse of the organization from our direct reports, who are also middle level leaders or senior level leaders. And besides certain surveys like Amber, what is also important is to have a one-on-one connect with skip levels. And when I say skip levels, I mean not just an N-1, but really understand and speak to people, which can mean just a 15-minute in the first thing in the morning, just connect to someone over a call, right? And that not only lets you understand the level of engagement and the motivation in the people, but also lets you understand the pulse of the overall organization. I think last but not the least, on the tactical sides of engagement, and obviously there could be several creative ideas around it. Yes, people have been doing fun activities, cocktail making, sundowners, virtual sundowners, and things like that. But I think what's very important on one aspect of something that we have always practiced on rewards and recognition, it's even more critical today to run that on a high frequency level to get people engaged. I think overall, while we are all learning on how to have an engaged employee and employer relationship and an organization where people feel a part of, we need to actively upskill our managers to support the hybrid teams, like I said. And most importantly, we need to see this model as an opportunity for us to foster the productivity, the efficiency, the resilience, and the ownership and the connection that can be bred with the model that we are gonna move to, potentially hybrid for all of us. And we also have to take into consideration that it's gonna evolve, and we'll have to learn as this evolves over time. I'm gonna stop that monologue there, and over to you, Anish.
Thank you, Ipsita. Very interesting perspective. And yes, you're so right now. I mean, in the old days when we met people, we'd say, "How are you?" Now we open meetings with, "Am I audible?" and "Can you hear me?" And that's really what we've kind of transformed to. But I also liked your example of a fun activity of learning to make cocktails and planning sundowners. I must tell my HR head that we should do something at our organization on those lines as well. But thank you for the suggestion. But no, great insights, Ipsita. And Swapna, maybe I will move straight to you. So we had from both Hema and Ipsita some interesting perspectives on how to engage employees. What is an employee looking for? There is also this whole matter of aligning the business with what the employee wants. An employee may or may not like working from home, but a particular business may insist on work from home because that's the model I'm moving. Or they may say, "No, I need to absolutely be in office as soon as the regulations permit." So if you could weigh in with a perspective from the business, and perhaps for different businesses, the needs could be different. So over to you, Swapna. You do have a perspective on that.
Thank you, Anish. And once again, it's a pleasure to be on the IFKI panel, and especially for an HR conclave. I'm really glad we're running something like this annually. It's great to be here. So indeed, Anish, this is something that as a group, in fact, in BNP Paribas, we do have different businesses. So we do have offshoring, we have the bank, we have a retail broking, and it's one thing, that we have realized that no one size fits all. And typically, as we've seen, like what Hema and Ipsita were talking about is, yes, it's very true that today there is a changing workforce. The pandemic has clearly disrupted the way we look at work, both from an employee and an employer standpoint. Our needs have changed. And there are several businesses that have adapted and become digitized, which has enabled hybrid working and people to work from home. But there are equally a lot of businesses which do not have the luxury of offering a hybrid model. So, for example, you have the entire hospitality industry. You have to have people there, in hotels and restaurants serving and being out there. There is the entire airline industry. You can't have a pilot operating from home. There is security, a lot of medical services. Even banks, during the pandemic, banks were open. We had to have people coming into our branches. So as an organization, it has become even more important for us to recognize, first and foremost, what is the business reality, right? What is it that we need to do to ensure, A, that the business is running, both from a perspective of what is required for the business, but also from a regulatory or a need to keep things running. Keeping that in mind, and the fact that you also have a different demography of people. So, like Hema rightly said, you have millennials who, very clearly are looking for something like self-actualization, a purpose, something greater than just coming into work for money. You may have a slightly older generation who wants to come to the office because it clearly demarcates office and work and home life. And you may have a set of people who want the entire hybrid setup. I think the challenge for us in the near future is really going to be try to see how we match these different needs. So for us, for example, given that we had different business operating, we had an offshoring unit where clearly we do have the opportunity to digitize and help people or enable people to work from home. We could kind of deploy a model where people could work from home more often than people, for example, in the bank, where from a regulatory standpoint, we had to have branches open and people coming in. And I think that's where we need to strike the balance in trying to understand what set of employees suit our businesses the best, and how can we make sure that we are able to offer them that arrangement which suits the business and suits their requirements as well. And that's not going to be easy, because obviously as the pandemic evolves, it gets into an endemic. I think we'll continue going through changes. It's not going to end here. But I think the other important point, and I draw back on my own psychology background, is the whole Maslow's needs of hierarchy. And I think although it's a very age-old theory, I think it still holds very. I think at the end of the day, whether it's a millennial or not, or whether it's somebody who's used to an older way of working, finally it all boils down to what my needs are. If I have an employee who is going to be concerned with their financial requirements, then it's not going to matter whether I offer them hybrid working or not. For them, the compensation or pay is going to be important. If I have somebody for whom social recognition is important, it's going to be important for them to come to work, to have a network, to feel the social importance. And if I have somebody who has these elements taken care of, then they're very clearly going to be more happy with an environment which offers them complete flexibility and a greater purpose of life. And I think the challenge which leaders and HR professionals for sure are going to have is finding that right model which fits the business reality, and to find the right level of engagement with a changing and a dynamic workforce. So I think that's really the perspective I would bring over here.
Thank you, Swapna. Thank you. And you touched upon the word change a number of times in everything that you said, and that's a good segue for me to go to Philippe. Philippe, organizations, employees. I mean, of course, the world has gone through and is going through a massive change. But I mean, how do organizations deal with this kind of massive change? What have you seen, and what's your perspective on how one can manage such massive amounts of change?
Thank you, Anish, and thank you for having me. I'm very pleased to, although I'm not an HR specialist, I find the topic fascinating because, of course, it's at the core of what an organization can or cannot do. So I think you're in the front line of this change. I think we all know that many things are changing, and you've given many examples from the sort of HR field, and of course there are many changes in other field. So I think we all know and agree that many things are changing, and indeed the question is, how do we manage that? And what I work on is really to try to understand, in fact, what is changing and what do we mean when we use the words disruption, profound change. And I think Anne touched upon that a few minutes ago when she said that the old models are challenged and we need to rethink our models. And I think I'd like to just expand a little bit on this notion of model, what I call mental model, but we could use the word beliefs, because I think they're absolutely fundamental to what we're trying to do here. In fact, when you look at management, management is about, I'm stating the obvious here, making decisions, acting. And the basis on which we act is basically our beliefs. What do I believe about how I manage a team? What do I believe about how to motivate people? What do I believe about what my people want? What do I believe about how to achieve performance, and so on and so on. So at some point, an organization is basically a set of beliefs, which is translated in a business model, so to speak. Talking about books, and Emma, I loved your mention of books. I'm an avid reader of books, and if I may add one book among the many that would be relevant today, it's the book by Harari called *Sapiens*. I'm sure you have heard about that. Absolutely amazing book. And basically, Harari says, what is the fundamental basis of an organization, any type of organization? A collectivity of people achieving something. It might be a football club, it might be a company, it might be an NGO, whatever. And he says a fundamental basis of an organization, a group of people achieving something, is a set of beliefs. He called them myth, stories, because that's the way we view the world. And I think it's really interesting because if the basis of an organization and the basis on which we make decisions are the beliefs of the organization, then in time of disruption, those beliefs are challenged. What used to be true is not true anymore. And what used to be impossible becomes possible, and vice versa. And so it becomes interesting because, number one, it explains why organizations are so challenged at this time by what's going on. It's because the basis on which they are founded is being challenged. And remote work is a case in point, and you're absolutely familiar with the topic, but I remember early 2020 discussing with the CEO, and he told me, Philippe, a week before the confinement, I concluded a study with my HR manager, and we concluded that remote work would not be possible in this organization. And of course, a week after that, remote work was saving the organization. Okay, so we live in a time where an existing beliefs can be invalidated in a matter of days, literally. So that's a bit extreme, but so what we're seeing, and Emma, you are absolutely correct. It's all evolving. Of course, otherwise it would be quite easy. We could press on the pause button and say, okay, what do we see? But that's not possible because it's all changing and it's all highly uncertain. What we are seeing is a challenge of many of the beliefs that we've been working with, that on which we have based our action, on which managers have based their action. So that's profoundly unsettling. And here, it's a moving target, of course, and of course, I was listening to what you were saying about the new needs of worker, and I was quite impressed because they're drawing their Christmas list, and I want the company to do that for me, and it has to be inclusive, and this and that and that, and I mean it's all contradictory, of course, because. When you provide that, maybe one day they say, yeah, it's all fine, but I also want economic performance because I need to get money out of that. And so the danger here is, one would be lack of reaction to what's going on. And the other danger would be maybe an overreaction to what's going on, because the thing we don't know is what is going to be here to stay, definite change, or what is sort of temporary and will sort of revert to different things and so on. So that's the real challenge. And so I guess my point is that the way to address that, the way to deal with this change is a sense-making exercise. The fundamental question is what is going on? And we're all doing that. But the way to address this what is going on is really to question, to expose those beliefs. What do we believe about work? What do we believe about performance? What do we believe about engagement? And challenge those beliefs. So just to give you one example, I absolutely love this issue of work-life balance. And it's absolutely true that it's evolving, it's complex. People want many things, and it's contrary. People are unsure about what they really want. It's going to evolve over time and so on. But the very notion of work-life balance, there is a strong mental model behind that, which is, there is life on the one hand and there is work on the other hand. Work is something where there is no life, and life is when I don't work. Well, I would like to challenge that a bit. My whole personal life has been about a merger of personal and work. And many of the people I know, and I would say that it's a very, very strongly emerging trend, is a merging of, a nice work where the life and the work are sort of harmonious. And so on the one hand, we try to absolutely separate work and life and say, oh, should work be at the center or should life be at the center? Why not both? I'm not providing an answer. I'm saying that the word we use express a mental model which might be blocking. And so what I do with companies and in research is to say, when you see a situation and you need to do this sense-making exercise, try to be careful with the word we use, because sometimes they might be limiting the possibilities, or They might be opening possibilities. And what we're seeing here is precisely this ambiguity between work and life, which can lead to something bad. You know, wherever I go, I always have my emails on weekend, and I suffer from that, and that's very legitimate. But going to the other side might also be dangerous, because I feel good when I'm completely comfortable with sort of work and life. Some people are, and some people don't. And just to finish, same of course on the remote work. The mental model of remote work, and I'm sort of simplify it here, of course, for the sake of the exercise. In the past, remote work was a perk. Okay, so you would, conceive that okay, some people would work from home, and kind of on the back of your mind as a manager, you would know that those people didn't really have, an ambition in terms of career. So okay, they would, work from home, and okay, so it would be a perk. And now remote work is a, sort of a core brick of the future of work. Okay, so the mental model has completely changed. If we don't want that to return to remote work as a perk, we have to interrogate what's behind remote work and come back to notions of trust. How can it be that the manager will trust the person who is at home that he or she is going to be working? How can the person who's working from home is going to trust that the manager trusts him or her, and so on? So if we want to rethink work, we have to expose the mental models that are behind the work, which is basically, how do we create value together, knowing that some of us will be at home, some of us will be on location, we will not meet all the time, and so on and so on. So issues of trust, we have to interrogate the mental models that are behind the notion of the office. And we know that an office is not only a desk, an office is a symbol. It might be a symbol of power, it's a symbol of inclusion. If I don't have an office, I don't feel like I belong. The issue with open space, like I don't belong anywhere anymore, it's very unsettling, blah, 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 blah. So my point is that any issue, and work is one of them, if we want to do it seriously, we have to unravel the mental models, the beliefs that are behind that, put them on the table, and then, talk about them sort of expressly.
Thank you, Philippe. I think it's a rich topic, lots of perspectives. I'm told that we have, despite only having heard all of you just once, we've just got a few minutes left. So I'm going to maybe have a few what I call more rapid fire questions, where I request each of you to just answer very quickly and briefly. And the first one, I come back to you, Hema, and I'll ask everybody the same question, just a quick feel. When this all settles and we all hear about hybrid working becoming a reality even after COVID goes away, etc., and we discussed it today as well, just your guess, what percentage of our country's workforce will continue permanently in a hybrid model? What's your guess?
I guess about 85 to 90%. I guess everybody would want a hybrid working. Everybody will want flexibility. I think that's what it is. It's a large mass.
Yeah. Ipsita, go to you next.
I think we will actually have more people joining the workforce with the hybrid model because of the flexibility that it brings. So a lot of people who could not be a part of the workforce with a 9-to-6 schedule can now join the workforce.
Swapna, your guesstimate?
So I think I agree with Ipsita. I think there'll be more people coming to the workforce. In fact, it may even lead to things like part-time working and job shares in the future, given the flexibility that we may have. So I do think it's going to be something here to stay, but probably around 70 to 80% of the current workforce continuing to want to work in that direction, yes.
Philippe, we seem to have a strong view in the panel. It's going to be 80% and it will expand the workforce. Do you have an alternate view?
I cannot give you a number because, again, I'm not an HR specialist, but perhaps let's differentiate between those who can work from home and those who can't. If you work in a warehouse, you're going to have to be there all the time. So that will vary from jobs, from companies. There is an issue of fairness here, which is not easy. And I would say that it's probably up to each company to create its own work culture. So some companies will be, if you're a software company or if you're a bank, it's quite easy. Well, if you're a bank at the head office, it's quite easy to work remotely. But any front end job with customer, you might want to keep it sort of in person. So I would be very careful with sort of one size fits all solutions. It's a strategic issue. And so it has to be very, very specific to each organization, each culture, each country, and so on and so on. So a word of caution, I would say.
Absolutely. Maybe staying with you, Philippe, since you have the mic. Will we stop talking about the gig economy in future conferences, because now the new workforce has kind of already absorbed or become like a gig economy?
Yeah, if we could stop using buzzwords, as a professor of management, I have a rule in my class which is no buzzwords. So I have a paperboard which I call the bullshit zone, and every time one of the participants use what I call the bullshit word, it's written on the board, and they have to pay a bottle of champagne. It helps with clarity of mind to avoid using buzzwords. And so the gig economy, I've never understood what that means, because we've always had a diversity of work patterns. Now, of course, the sort of employee was super dominant, but it's been declining for a long time. I think, we're going to have a large variety of modes, remote and in-person, full-time employee. I think Google, half of the people who work for Google are not employees of Google. We could call that gig economy. We could. Sorry.
Yeah, and I guess that's the yes. No, I mean your view is clear. I think, well, gig economy is certainly a buzzword. I guess the most accepted definition of that are part-time workers, and yes, Google has been or non-permanent workers.
Different patterns. Yeah, different patterns, and it's great because I think, as Ipsita said, it will suit different people who will not work during the day, for instance, and so on. So that's quite positive.
Yep. Anybody else have a view on this topic? And then I'll come back to my last question. I think we'll just have time for one more.
Using a buzzword, Philippe, because I'm going to use it because it helps me sell the champagne. That
we'll agree to. I'm sure he won't mind that. No red card for.
Well, it was not a request for you to provide the champagne, of course.
I'm saying it. But coming back to the fact that one of the examples of gig economy working at its best, right? So we have a service called VFast in India, right? Run by gig economy workers. I literally have documents coming on my doorstep at home 4 to 5 times a day for signatures. So yes, whether the Uber gig economy might work or not work because people stop going to office, but there are other opportunities that will rise which might continue that economy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's a great example, Ipsita. And I think what you're trying to say is that even if the workforce changes for large parts of our business economy or the economy indeed, there will be pieces of it that will continue to be powered by the gig economy. All right, I think we have literally a minute more. Just one quick final thought from each of you, maybe as a closing comment or a closing piece of advice for the HR practitioners and the audience. Maybe I'll start with you, Hema, very quickly.
Actually, I would like to hear from you, Anish, but I'll give my answer. But I think the most important thing is what we have dramatically shifted the last couple of years is a strong focus on mental health for all our employees and our colleagues. And it's my wish and my prayers that that continues. It has to be on top of the strategic priority of an organization. And that's what I would look out for. But I'd like to hear from you, Anish. And I know you have a wealth of knowledge there as well.
Yes, no, I will. But maybe I go to Swapna next. A quick word from you, Swapna.
Yeah, so I would extend that into well-being, because I think well-being is a larger concept, and I think today we clearly need to look at the workforce, the changing needs of the workforce, And yes, certainly mental health, but an overall well-being is something that we really need to focus on. I think that for me, from an HR standpoint, is going to be very, very important.
Okay. Ipsita, something for the audience?
Well, like Philippe mentioned, no, I'm not an HR expert here, but I think what I've seen work the most in the present hybrid model, and it's much needed as well as we continue in that work, making the to learn to start off with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Philippe, final word to you on final word from you on this. Anything you want to leave the audience with, a final closing thought?
Yeah, those issues are complicated, moving, it's all evolving. And I think, again, it's, if you want to have some clarity of thought and to connect to really the strategy of the organization, is really, again, to learn to expose and challenge the mental models and the beliefs that are behind that, not to attack them, just to recognize them and then to sort of play with them in the good sense of the word. Then we can make sense of situations and we can sort of have an impact, I would say.
All right, thank you. I'm told by the organizers that we're totally out of time. So Hema, I'll have to convey my opinion maybe in the next panel, and there's apparently an exciting awards ceremony that is eagerly awaited. But thank you very much, all of you. I don't see any questions at the moment, and looks like anyway we're out of time, but thank you very much. I think all your different perspectives have provided great insights, certainly for me, and I'm sure everybody in the audience. But thank you very much, and look forward to being in touch with all of you and enjoying the rest of the session.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ani. Thank you, and all the panelists for such a wonderful discussion. This has been really engaging. I'm sure all the participants present here would be definitely connecting with the pulse of the discussion we've just had. Thank you for a great discussion. And I also must say, to meet this challenge, companies should craft a talent strategy and develop employees' critical digital and cognitive capabilities, their social and emotional skills, and their adaptability and resilience. It's about how leaders can reskill and upskill the workforce to deliver new business models in the post-pandemic era. Business heads, HR or no HR, any business head is definitely having some percentage of HR in him or her. Great discussion, wonderful discussion. Thank you once again, Anish, Swapna, Ipshita, Hema, and Philippe. Now we move ahead to the most interesting part of the conclave, which is the IFFKI HR Awards. And to take this forward, may I invite Sapna Verma to take over. And Sapna, who is the head HR and recruitment for IFFKI, may I invite her. Sapna, over to you.
Thank you, Suspita. We're just going to be playing a 2-minute video and then we will move on to me. Bhakti, can you just play the video and then I will start?
Our vision as promoters was to create an effective, lean and fast-moving company with inherent core values of integrity, commitment and transparency. This ensures maximum customer value creation through constant innovation.
We have over 2 decades of experience and an all-India coverage through 7 offices. We also have coverage in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Maldives. We focus on creating cutting-edge technology to enhance transfer and client experience.
With iNavigate, which is our proprietary tool, we leverage technology to create a 360-degree solution for all stakeholders.
iTrack securely stores important documents for easy access and tracks assignments progress, visa and lease expiries.
iTrack is able to generate many value-added reports for our clients. Its unique application programming interface allows data to integrate with various RMC systems.
ICANN is committed towards the protection of our personal identify information and personal data for our clients. ICANN has invested heavily in data protection and is also the proud owner of ISO 27001 2013 certificate.
ICANN was the first company in India to have achieved an EGQS certification along with an ISO 9001:2015.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the first edition of the prestigious IFCCI HR Awards. On behalf of IFCI, I would like to thank all participating companies for their interest and enthusiasm to be a part of this first edition of IFCCI HR Awards 2022. I'm happy to share that we received close to 40 applications from 20 companies across the following award categories: Best Diversity and Inclusion Initiatives, Best Employee Wellness and Wellbeing Initiatives, Most Resilient Team, Best CHRO HR Head, and the Special Jury Award. I would now like to take this opportunity to thank Aon's Assessment Solutions, our knowledge partner for the IFCI HR Awards. With their support and guidance, we were able to efficiently define the shortlisting criteria for the internal assessment. A panel of 10 jury members, eminent business and HR leaders, then interviewed the shortlisted candidates and have identified the recipients for this awards. A heartfelt appreciation to our esteemed jury who took out time to be a part of this initiative. And I would now like to really invite each one of them to very briefly share with us their impressions on the awards process and one or two significant factors that influenced their decision. So I'd now like to start with the Managing Director of Aon's Investment Assessment Solutions. And we'd now like to play a video which will be played by the team as Ishita was not able to join us today. So maybe have the video addressed by Ishita.
Hello everyone, my name is Ishita Bandyopadhyay. I'm the Managing Director for Aon's Assessment Solutions for Southeast Asia and India. This year, IFCI has partnered with Aon to identify some of the industry leaders for India in 2021. IFCI has undertaken a robust and rigorous identification and selection process to felicitate some of the industry trendsetters in the domain of people and talent. Owing to the pandemic, all organizations who have participated in this particular program have undergone a lot of difficulties. Needless to say, they have demonstrated extreme agility and resilience, and hence the same is acknowledged. However, the jury members have kept a keen eye out for those organizations who have stood out in terms of their focus on diversity of talent and its development, reskilling of talent given the current times of digital transformation, as well as those organizations who have focused on employee well-being. Overall, organizations who have kept their talent and employees front and center and created a business impact have been recognized. A big congratulations to all the organizations. Everybody is definitely a winner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ishita. I'd now like to invite Pallavi Tyagi, CHRO India Capgemini, to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Sapna. Hi, everyone. I wish you all a good evening or good morning, depending on the geography from where you're joining. I hope you're all keeping well and safe. And my colleagues who have joined for the IFCI HR Conclave 2.0, what a great 2 days and what a great agenda. The work that IFCI is doing deepens the ties between India and France, and it's just so amazing. I would like to thank Sumit, Payal, Shrikant, Sapna, my co-jury members, and the entire IFCI team for having me as one of the jury members for the HR Awards. I must say, The set of nominations were extremely impressive. The process organized, which we just heard about, was very robust and transparent and was such a beautiful learning journey for me. So thank you once again. Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to all of those who joined, participated wholeheartedly, and shared their experiences within their organization. Thank you, and back to you, Sapna.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. May I now ask Debashish to join us? Debashish, are you here? We can have you switch on the camera. Okay, so maybe we'll have Debashish switch on his camera and then go to him. So yes, Olivier, we can maybe have you say a few words.
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I would like to say that I was delighted to participate in this conclave, and it has been an honor to be part of the jury for the most resilient team. So I would like to thank the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and as well as my co-jurors for this experience. It's interesting because at the moment we are living a time where we are hoping to go through the last sequence of the pandemic of the COVID-19. And if our hopes are met, we will soon be back in our normal lives, remembering this very awkward time as some kind of a bad dream. But what gathers us today together will remain as an evidence that somehow these incredibly challenging times have also been the possibility for good to emerge. And that it was not all darkness, and that through the cracks, some light came through. As members of the jury, we attempted to evaluate the efforts developed by these HR teams through a rigorous process, and I must say that we have been very impressed. The dedication, the creativity, the sincerity, the efficiency with which these endeavors have been implemented is absolutely remarkable. So I would like to congratulate and thank all the contestants for showing an equal level of commitment and professionalism. And in order to select today's winners, we focused more particularly on the impact of these actions in protecting the employees in the widest range of fields as possible, as well as the capacity of these projects to be virtuous for the companies and their businesses as well. So I would like to thank everyone, of course, the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry and my co-jurors, and congratulate again the contestants and wish you all a very, very good day and conference and forum and award ceremony with us today. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Olivier. I'd now like to invite Sumit Anand, President IFFCI and founder of Insight Growth Partners. Sumit, over to you to share a few words.
Thanks, Sapna. What an outstanding jury we have, first of all. Can we all, wherever we are sitting, just applaud this jury for the commitment they've shown to be with us, to take out the time to evaluate the nominations and to bring their expertise to the Indo-French Chamber. So a big thanks to all of you. And also, as the President of the Chamber, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the leadership of our HR committee, Shrikant and Sasmita, for really championing this conclave, and obviously Sapna, who's the rock behind it all and made it happen. This is the second conclave, and as you said, the first time that we're having awards. So a big thanks to you all and congratulations. The awards are exciting, right? I mean, when you go through the nominations, everybody should be awarded, right? And it's always a challenge when you're on a jury. Everybody deserves to be awarded, and we're not here to judge anybody. Everybody is doing a great job. I was hearing Professor Sibel talk earlier, Sibel Zan, about how work-life balance is, it puts work at the opposite end of life. And if you think about some of what we saw in the nominations is the dual impact on both business and employee. And again, what's quite apparent through what we are living through is these are not two sides of a coin, they are actually integral. And the companies that have focused on that integral approach have really stood out and I'd say made an impact on the business, which is far wider and deeper than perhaps in pre-pandemic. So it's really been a fascinating to be on this jury. Again, thanks to everybody who's been part of this conclave.
Thank you so much, Sumit. I'd now like to invite Payal S. Kanwar, Director General IFFCI, to share a few words.
Thanks so much, Sapna. I just want to add that it's been a fantastic 2 days, and I want to thank all of our speakers and panelists for really contributing to the success of this event. I'm looking forward to all of the post-event communication that is going to be released by the Chamber. We're going to ensure that we have some great videos coming out, some articles on all of our social media, so do follow us on those platforms. I think I'd just like to add that, we had actually launched the Indo-French Business Awards a couple of years ago. And we realized as the years went on that the HR category was becoming quite prominent in nature, given the kind of the dimension of this entire function within an organization. So this year with Sapna, we decided to introduce the first edition of these awards. And as Sumit was saying, it's always challenging to be on a jury. And I want to congratulate all of you for really sending in your nominations and inspiring us with your work. I'd also like to thank Shrikant and Aon Assessment for your guidance. I know it's never easy to figure out criteria and how these assessments work. So thank you so much for your guidance and thank you everybody once again. Back to you, Sapna.
Thank you so much, Payal. I'd now like to call on Shrikant Lonekar. So Shrikant is the chairman of the IFCCI HR committee, and he's also the convener for the IFCCI HR Conclave 2.0. So Shrikant, over to you.
Thank you, Sapna. I think all of us, if you are a human being, you have a strong need for recognition. Whoever you are, young, old, and whatever is your role. And I can tell you, people who are working in the back end of the organization, so to say, people who are sitting at the top of the organization, the leaders, they actually miss on this piece of need for recognition getting fulfilled because they're taken for granted. For example, we don't think that a CEO needs recognition, but I can tell you, if they are a human being, they need recognition. And this is where, we expect these awards, particularly being launched as a first edition at this particular time, when HR has been at the center stage, at the front stage, and has made a huge contribution to the businesses around the world. We thought the members of our chamber and their HR leaders, they should be aptly recognized. And while we were going through this process, I can tell you, there's so many inspiring stories that you come across. It was very difficult to really identify who will be number one, who will be number two. But finally, thanks to the jury, we've been able to identify that, and we'll shortly tell you that. I want to sincerely thank all the jury. They have invested considerable amount of time in giving us the right recommendations, and it is really a very objective and judicious process. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sapna.
Thank you so much, Shrikant. And I'd just like to make a special mention and a special thank you to Shrikant. He's been the guiding light and the force which helped us to put this award ceremony together. His valuable insights were really, really very useful to us because, as you know, this is the first edition. And Shrikant, we really appreciate it wholeheartedly. Thank you so much. So now
You're
that
kind,
we have...
Sapna. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We still have one or two jury who may join us, so I will take the liberty to ask them to maybe share their feedback a little later. But without wasting much time, let's now move on to the announcement of the much-awaited awards category. And of course, I also once again thank the jury for the time they took out, for making this awards, an internal assessment process, a successful one. So moving on to the categories, I'd now like to start with the first category for the award. And the first category will be the award for the most resilient HR team. So may I just have the screen on? Yes, thank you. So I'd now like to invite Meenal Chokar, CHRO, VP Group Legrand India, to announce the award.
Hi, Sapna. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Meenal.
See me and can you hear me okay?
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much.
Great. So good afternoon, everyone. Absolutely delighted to be on the call here to announce the winners for the most resilient HR team. And I say winners because we actually have two winners in this category. And they are, so the first winner is Michelin India Private Limited. Congratulations, guys. I'm clapping here, whether you can hear me or not. Very well done. And the second winner for the most resilient HR team is Accor India and South Asia. Congratulations.
Yeah, so we have Satish Kumar from Accor. Satish, yes.
Maybe
So
Satish would like to say a word first, or I go?
I think, Laurent, you may go ahead first, because I think Satish is just trying.
Sure. Okay, so, well, very proud, of course. First of all, I would like to thank IFCCI for these 2 days, wonderful days of events, and also thanks the jury who asked very sharp questions, were very, I would say, professional in the way to assess this award category. I'm very proud on that, of course. My initial thoughts are going to my team, to the Indian team. If I just want to illustrate that, we are speaking here about 25 people, roughly 25 people, taking care of 2,500 overs across India. And these 25 people, during the last 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, did a fantastic job. The normal business, of course, but as we mentioned, they are under tremendous pressure to face the employee concern, to face the business concern, much more than before. Moreover, this team is split in different locations because of work from home, because of relocation issue, because of whatever. So we have, in fact, the teams spread in 6 different main cities. Some of the team members didn't see any colleague for several months. So that means working alone at home and only doing fields virtual. Myself, I went through 3 different countries and roughly 20 locations in the last 1 year for different reasons. So that team did again a fantastic job. And last but not least, in fact, I also think that this team was personally affected sometime by COVID themselves, the family. And despite on that, they ensure business continuity with some key words like solidarity, collaboration, empowerment, of course, and trust. So that I'm again really proud to receive this award, and I would like deeply thanks IFCCI for that, and thanks even more the Michelin SP Team India, HR Team India. Thank you very much.
Sorry, yes. Thank you, Laurent. And I'll now ask Satish to share a few words.
Thank you. We're all very honored at Accor India to be recognized. A special mention to IFCI to initiate these awards. Thank you for the jury members, Sapna, Pyle, everyone for organizing this and supporting us. Hospitality industry was one of the toughest industry which faced during the pandemic. I think the last 2 years has given us a lot of learnings. But I can, with all the initiatives what Accor has taken to take care of its team members, to keep them safe, to help them, assist them. I've been working with Accor for quite some time, but I can just say that this is the reason why I have been working with this company. The company stood rock solid behind its employees when it is needed the most, right? So I think it's an recognition for that. Thank you very much, and congratulating Laurent also for winning the award. Thank you.
Congratulate to you, Satish. Yes.
Thank you so much, Satish and Laurent, and a big congratulations to the winning teams. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we'll now move on to the next category. The next category for the awards is the Best Diversity and Inclusion Initiatives. And for this, I would like to invite Mr. Karthikeyan Ramamurthy, Director Strategy and Coordination at Amidus Labs, to announce the winner. Thank you, Karthikeyan.
Thanks, Sapna. I hope you're able to hear me clearly.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
Perfect. Thank you, Sapna and IFCI, for this opportunity, and congratulations to you for the HR Conclave 2.0 and the awards. Pat Waders, the CHRO of LinkedIn, said, and I quote, When we listen and celebrate what is both common and different, we become a wiser, more inclusive, and a better organization. Keeping that thought in mind and without any further delay, I announce the winner of the Best Diversity and Inclusion Initiatives, and the winner is Michelin India Private Limited. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations, Laura.
Thank you very much. So I'm very honored, in fact, to receive this second prize. That's somewhere amazing. But voilà, that's again my fault coming to the team, but not only the HR team, obviously, all the managers, employees who are behind that. Diversity and inclusion, it's not the HR matter, it's a matter of everyone, for sure. I'm with Michelin since 23 years. And yes, I saw really some changes also in the sense of people are in the DNA of the company since long time, for sure, since the beginning, I would say. But for sure, diversity and inclusion is a topic that took more and more importance across time. And really, Michelin developed some policy holistically, not only on gender diversity, which is important, not only on handicap, which is important, disability, but also some other program, which are there and probably will be much more emphasized in the years to come, in the weeks to come, in the months to come. So very proud of that award, which means a lot, in fact, in terms of company value. I'm sure there are also very good other companies here in this panel, and many are doing things. I'm pleased to receive that honor today, very pleased, very honored. But thanks a lot again, and thanks to the jury to have appreciated this effort done. It will be something big in our company, you know, to celebrate this award. Thank you very much, Kartian, and all the team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laurent. Thank you, Kartikeyan, and congratulations once again to Michelin for this award. I'd now like to move on to the third category, which is the Best Employee Wellness and Wellbeing Initiatives. So for this category, maybe invite Mano Delmas, Business Development Manager at AGS Global Solutions. So yes, Mano, thank you for joining in, and you may now announce the winner.
Hello, Sapna. Thank you very much for asking us to announce this award winner. So AGS is very proud to announce the Best Employee Wellness and Wellbeing Initiative for this HR conclave, being Amadeus Labs India Private Limited.
Thank you, Mano. I'm now going to invite Pratibha Neelamegan from Amadeus Labs, and Pratibha is Head of Employee Relations and Wellness, People and Culture. So Pratibha, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, IFKI, to begin with, and thanks to every member of the jury who had a tremendous task in their hand to go through multiple applications to understand what stands out unique from Amadeus Wellness and Wellbeing Initiative. For us, it's truly a honor for two reasons. In the last 2 years, the People and Culture team within Amadeus has seen a lot of changes. We have seen a lot of change in workforce, the way that we've been operating. The kind of agility and resilience that team has built was tremendous. That has given us the spunk to look at new initiatives, what could be personalized under employee wellness and well-being initiatives. And I think that's where we stood out in some of the unique programs that we had run for our employees. Wellness for us, it's not just about taking care of employees by putting some engagement initiatives. It's more around holistic approach of how do you connect mind, soul and body for various initiatives that we have run over the last 1 year. We hope to continue to keep supporting on the mental well-being initiative.
Hello.
I think we lost
Sapna.
Yeah, I think we lost Pratibha. I was a little confused about where the connectivity was lost. Yeah, so I think Pratibha's had an issue, so we'll move on maybe to the next category. Thank you so much, Pratibha, and congratulations to the Amadeus team for winning this category of the award. And now we move on to the next category, which is the award for the best CHRO and HR head. And I'd now like to invite Sumit Anand, President IFKI and founder of Insight Growth Partners. Sumit, over to you to announce the winners.
Thank you very much, Sapna. It's an honor for me to announce that we have 2 winners for this award. Not surprising, as I said earlier, everybody deserves to win, but clearly 2 winners today. Shalini Nair, Head People, Culture, Communications and Brand and Facilities at Amadeus Labs India Private Limited, and Suraj Chetri, Regional Director Human Resources at Airbus India and South Asia. So congratulations, Shalini and Suraj, and I hope that you will enjoy this award and celebrate today. Can I now invite Shalini and Suraj to say a few words? Shalini, if you're there, would you like to go first?
Hi, Sumit, can you hear me?
Yes, Shalini, little bit of disturbance, but yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for this award, and thank you, Sumit, for such a nice introduction to the award, and to the jury for going through all the nominations and very carefully looking at the process and then coming up with the winners. I know it's always a really tough job. So again, thank you. Very, very delighted and happy to have got this award along with the wellness that my team member Pratibha just spoke about. Really humbled and delighted. And of course, our team from People and Culture here at Amadeus is completely delighted to have this award at the IFKI HR Conclave. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Shalini, and I'd like to invite Suraj. Hi, Suraj, over to you.
Thank you very much, and I'm honored and feel privileged to receive this recognition. And of course, it gives us another reason to celebrate. And I'd like to show my appreciation to IFKI and the jury, and of course, not forgetting my great HR family back at Airbus. And I dedicate this recognition to them, because without them, I would be a nobody. And of course, lastly, Airbus, which has given me the freedom and the confidence to lead their operations in South Asia for the last 11 years. I'm humbled with this recognition provided. I want to congratulate all the other winners and the companies also. And thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much, Suraj. And we have the next category. So I'd just like to go ahead and announce that. So moving on to the next category, the last category, which is the Special Jury Award. And for the Special Jury Award, for the Special Jury Award, I'd now like to invite Shrikant Lonikar, Chairman of IFCCI HR Committee and convener of the HR Conclave, to share the winner with us. Shrikant, over to you.
Thank you, Sapna. Actually, during this COVID pandemic second wave, this is the company which covered 10 states to supply medical liquid oxygen very successfully and efficiently from their 4 plants at different locations. And we all know the need of oxygen, what was that time. They reaffirmed the need to put human beings first and be compassionate to employees, and were thus able to come out stronger from this crisis. This organization followed the principle of employee centricity to not only survive in tough times like these, but also to continue to grow, strive, and lead by example. They deserve this award for their remarkable initiatives in employee wellness, COVID management, and the resilience demonstrated while also creating a social impact. The Special Jury Award goes to Air Liquide India. Congratulations, team here, and it's very inspiring story. Many organizations would like to take a leaf out of your book of success and learn from you how to become a role model organization in these tough times. So over to you, Bina, for a couple of words.
Thank you very much. Hello to everyone. I would like to thank you and to thank the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and the jury. I'm proud and glad to receive this award. Today, it's important for the company. It is an award for all and each of Air Liquide employees. I think that this recognition rewards, of course, the employees of Air Liquide India, but also the values of the company. You know, we at Air Liquide, we are a customer satisfaction-centric organization, passionate organization, and we do believe in the symmetry of attention. It was mentioned previously. By taking care of our employees, engaging the employee, working around the employee well-being, their work-life balance, mental health, the support in change management, we do believe that they will deliver for the utmost customer satisfaction and passion. Despite this terrible impact of the COVID wave 2 in India, it is exactly what we have tried to do while managing the crisis. The resilience shown by the team is the result of the values promoted and developed within Air Liquide. In particular, safety, you know, it's our license to operate, and safety of our people is and has always been the top priority of the organization, very much demonstrated during the COVID times. Being essential services, we have undergone a lot of challenging times during this COVID last year, but with effective crisis communication, inspiring connection with our people, continuous resilience of our team, we have converted the crisis into opportunity. Just to share with you some key highlights during this COVID crisis and the continuous operation despite the lockdown on the COVID challenge, shift from industrial customers to hospitals in order to serve the nations and in the need of medical oxygen. And in a time when oxygen was lacking in the country, a joint collaboration of the French and Indian government was launched to import oxygen from Qatar to support country. So I'm very glad that the way Air Liquide managed its business, mobilized its teams during this crisis. And Air Liquide was not very known in the Indian market earlier, but it provided itself its truth on challenging times of COVID being a reliable partners, and now the brand is more visible as a preferred partner of choice. With that, I would like to thank again the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce for giving us the opportunity to be here today and presenting Air Liquide. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Benoit. Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you so much. So hearty congratulations to all the winners, and once again a big thank you to everyone for participating. We thank the participating companies for supporting this first edition of the IFCCI HR Awards. We also thank our esteemed jury, Aeon's Assessment Solutions for guiding us, and all our event sponsors for making this first edition a success. We look forward to greater participation next year. Thank you so much. Sasmita, over to you.
Thank you, Sapna, and heartiest congratulations to all the winners. Keep rocking and keep shining. May I now invite Shrikant Lonikar to give us the closing remarks, please.
Thank you, Sasmita. What a wonderful interaction and celebration. I'm not going to take more time than 2-3 minutes to talk about the closing. We began with a promise that this conclave will provide insights into the new world of business that is challenging, and the deliberations here will help participants to identify a direction, so to say, to their solution finding pursuit. And thanks to the speakers, I venture to say we have been able to live up to this promise, and I just hope you would also agree with me. It's all about the business and people. That's what was being discussed. This, and people includes the employees, their families, customers, suppliers, and society at large. The future demands the structure of business and organizations to be reviewed. How will you relate to your customers in future? The concept of customer centricity has been redefined. Clients now expect you to be an extended arm of their business. One of our speakers said yesterday, a more inclusive and integrated approach is the need of the hour. Internally, different functions of the organizations will have to review their conventional deliverables. Which functions will be business drivers and which ones will be enablers in future? And how will those be reorganized and how the relationships with each other be impacted? Now, it's clearer that in future, a more networked organization will work better than a hierarchical, authority and control-oriented conventional organization. That's what we learned from the deliberations here. The challenge of the future will be about culture and experience. Hybrid work is the normal. It is clear now. Businesses must address the home office challenges, help employees to be comfortable and not look at the option to work from home as a facility or a benefit or a concession. Challenge that thinking that everyone must come back to office someday, and I think HR people should think about it. Why? Is it a business need that everyone should come back to office, or is it a control need? Sorry if I'm offending some by saying that, but I think if someone could deliver work efficiently for close to 2 years from remote, just because the risk of corona has reduced, they need not be back in office, particularly if they are not happy doing that, right? You may land up with either a disengaged employee coming to office or higher attrition. We all understand that. The challenge of the future is about expectations and alignment, resetting both. People have changed during this period of 2 years. They are not the same people we have known them. And hence this need of resetting, We need to tell employees clearly what they should and what they should not do. Communication and a straight communication will be the key. Find out what motivates employees now. Their needs have changed. Their character has changed. How will you align success of business and success of employees? Old parameters may not be relevant in future. We understand now. Our speakers provided deeper insights in these areas. I would just say that to be successful in the future, not leaders, but let the employees influence how business will be delivered in future. If you do that, you cannot fail. These employees know the market, they know the customer, and they have most of the solutions to the problems of business. Please try them. I want to thank all participants for joining the conclave. Thank you for your time. Big thanks to our jury for helping us identify right candidates for these most prestigious awards. And a big thank you to all speakers. They helped us in delivering the promise. Thank you. Back to you, Sasmita.
Sasmita, I'd just like to intervene. I'm sorry. There was a message from Rachna Mukherjee, who was on the jury, and we could not play it due to a technical issue. And I'd really like just 2 minutes to be able to read out a message before we move on to the vote of thanks. Yeah. So Bhakti, may I have it played out, please? Yeah. This was an issue. It was not getting connected. So yes. So I'd like to share the message from Rachna. Rachna took out time to be a part of our jury, and we're really grateful to her for that. So I'd like to quote. Rachna says, "It's an honor and privilege to be a part of the jury for one of the award categories. It was a great experience going through the award applications. I was impressed by the innovative work done by different organizations. Compliments to IFFCI team for designing and executing a very well-structured and in-depth evaluation process. Compliments to all the shortlisted participants, as each one is a winner in their own right. The two significant factors that influenced my decision are long-term and sustained set of interventions with maximum business and people impact, and secondly, innovative practice. Rachna congratulates the winning teams." Thank you so much, Rachna. And Sasmita, over to you.
Thank you, Sapna, and thank you, Shrikant, for a wonderful conclusion. I know that this is the buzz of the pandemic period which is happening. People working from home, not willing to come back. Most of them thinking that, okay, working from home is definitely not the right choice. They are coming back to the office. But yes, I agree with you. Office is office, home is home. I mean, it makes always a difference when you're working from the office. So there are different situations in different companies. I mean, based on economies, based on technology, based on the diversified work industry, etc. But depends on the decisions of the different trades. But definitely work from office is good. Work from home is also good. So hybrid, let's see what lies ahead. Thank you, Shrikant, once again. May I now invite Sapna to give us the vote of thanks and conclude the session. Sapna, who's the head HR and recruitment with Key. Sapna, on to you, please.
So Sasmita, I think we will have Rishika, who's going to be joining us to do the vote of thanks. And Rishika is heading committees and events for North. And she had an issue earlier, so she's now back to joining us. So Rishika, over to you. You may access the mic and the video.
Thank you, Sapna. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, perfectly.
You can switch on your video.
All right. Thank you so much. And on behalf of IFCI, I would like to thank each one of you for attending the IFCI HR Conclave 2.0. This is the second edition of our flagship event, and we really appreciate your interest and enthusiasm to be a part of both day one and day two. We would like to thank all our speakers and panelists for sharing their valuable insights and experiences on today's panel titled New Character of Worker, providing important takeaways and best practices that business leaders and HR professionals could implement in their organizations. Before closing, we would once again like to thank all our event sponsors, platinum sponsors, Amidus Labs India, Atos and Capgemini, gold sponsors Michelin India, silver sponsors ICANN Relocation, Legraw and Thales, knowledge partner EM Lyon Business School, HR Awards knowledge partner Aon Assessment Solutions, media partner ET HR World, knowledge partner and HR committee annual patron Trilegal, and HR committee annual patron Aegis Forwinds. Most importantly, I would like to thank the leadership of the IFCI HR committee, Shrikant Lonikar, Sasmita Mohanty and Nasir Sheikh for their continuous support and guidance, along with our IFCI HR committee members in making this platform a huge success. Last but not the least, thank you to the organizers, the IFCI HR and recruitment team, Sapna, Neha and Bhakti for creating this wonderful platform and leading a very successful version. See you all next year and thank you once again.
Thank you, Rishika. I know the conclave has come to an end. It has been a grand success. Now, may I just have a request to all the panelists, speakers, all the IFCI members, please switch on the video and we can say a formal bye to each other. Sapna, maybe we can take a clip on the screen.
Yeah, we can ask. Yeah, we can ask the IFCI team member to take a screenshot. I think Pranita will do that.
Team of IFCI, Nasir, please switch on the video.
Yes.
Sumit, if he's still there, maybe.
I don't think there's anyone else switching on their cameras.
I can see most of them in green, but
yeah. Nasir is there, or I don't know. He's
yeah. Nasir is there. Nasir is
no,
there.
I'm very much here. I'm unable to switch it on because I have bandwidth issues.
Ah, okay, okay. Bhakti, Neha, Vishika's disappeared. Okay, great. So
we'll paste a picture of yours, Nasir.
Yeah.
Okay, Rishika's here. Come on, everyone, please put on your videos for...
Okay, so whoever is there, please feel free to put on your videos. Everybody, including everyone who's participating, not only IFCI team, please join in.
Yes, everyone, I can see all the names.
Everybody. Laurent, you can join in, everybody. Suraj.
All the speakers, moderators.
I can't see any other name.
We have Uday also, yeah, but Uday's joined in from the web. They won't be able to put their speakers on, yeah. Suraj, we can't see you.
Ah.
Yes. That's great, yes. Okay, great. So Pranita, do let us know once you have the screenshot.
Is that it? Nobody else?
I think many have left. Many have left. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shrikant. Sasna,
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Very good moderator. Thank you. Sapna, Bhakti, Neha,
Well done,
congratulations. Brilliant second edition. Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Take
You
care.
too. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Shrikant, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. So just you and me, Sapna. No.
So yeah, we have a lot of people still there who are just leaving, but thank you again to the participants. Really, really appreciate your joining in. Thank you so much. And for all those who missed it, you can connect on YouTube Live. You can watch this again, watch the yesterday's edition as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe we can end the session. Bhakti, we can end the session. Thank you so much.